Welcome back to another episode of Stevens Racing 79. My name is Zachary Stevens, and I'm officially home from school. I got one more semester, and then I'll be finished with my packaging degree over at Michigan State University. So, for the summer, I want to get my car up and running by August 8th and 9th. That is the airfield rigs over at Three Rivers, Michigan. It's a 2-day racing event, racing down an 8th mile, down an airstrip. No prep style, so no glue on the airstrip. So pulling the car out of storage right now so I can start working on it. I'm bringing it home so it's a little easier when I get time here and there. So I'm taking the car home so it's easier to work on it, because later on that day I ended up going to LKQ because I had a little bit of time. And I wanted to pull this bumper off at a Honda Civic. It's an aluminum bumper, and it's less than half the weight of the steel rear bumper on Sydney right now. So that's a good weight reduction method there. Right now, we're taking the C10 over to a car show in Fenville, I believe it was, at the Little Store. And this car show is held at a party store that has basically everything you want. It's got food, it's got ice cream, it's got drinks. I was honestly surprised at the turnout. There's a bunch of cars there. Something for everyone. You had late model muscle cars, you had old muscle cars, you had lifted trucks, you even had a little lawn tractor you saw a little second ago. But it was pretty good. A lot of new cars I have not seen. So we're definitely going to be visiting this car show. It's held, I believe, once a month. I'll have to get back to you guys on that. This truck over here had a LS with a Pro Charger on it. It sounded pretty wicked. This is the original rear bumper off of Sydney. And this thing weighed a bunch. It's behind this bumper cover you see here, so you don't see it at all. It's just this flimsy little material. I was kicking myself because I did not actually get actual weights for each bumper. This one felt like it was less than half the weight of the original one. Here we are drilling 3 new holes. We used the existing brackets, but drilled 3 new holes, used some hardened bolts, bolted it right into place, and took a little bit because you had to work around the existing brackets that were connected to the rear top of the shackles. But overall, it went pretty smoothly. We had this knocked out in an hour or two. Throwing the original or the bumper cover back on, and this is held on by, it was 2 studs that are located on the top of that little strip there, and then 1 screw at the bottom. So I'm pushing those studs through so I could put a nut on the inside in the trunk, and then doing the 1 screw on the bottom for each side. You need to do the same on the left side. You got to put 2 nuts on the studs that go through the trunk, and then the screw at the bottom. Here you can see I am zipping 4 sheet metal screws with lock washers to secure the bottom tabs for the bumper cover into the aluminum bumper. This is to make sure that the bumper is secure and the bumper cover is secure and not flapping around in the wind. I just don't want it to catch anything. So wanted to make sure it's secure. And then I also decided to change the license plate holder. The original one was Nitrous Express, but this car will no longer be nitrous powered. It was nitrous powered for about an 8th mile pass before I blew the engine. So removing that license plate holder and gonna swap that out for my Michigan State Spartans license plate holder. This car will be powered by a small block Chevy and a single turbo. So that's why we don't need the nitrous one. There you can see right there. To secure the top of the bumper cover, I found these brackets. I believe they are spark plug wire organizers. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I decided to use them to help secure the top of the bumper cover. And I even used the existing bolt holes here, as you can see. This is not designed to absorb any impact or anything. This is specifically just to keep the bumper cover from flapping in the wind. So you got left, right, and then I used my leftover pieces of metal to secure the middle there. This is a gauge panel that I got off of eBay. It's gonna go right there, and you can see once I zoom in a little bit that the knee bar right there gets pretty close to the back end of that, so I will not be able to put any gauges like I was thinking I was going to right behind there. But this is how we ended up mounting the right side of the dash here. Those tabs were welded on by the chassis guy. I used soundberry mats from a company named Flatline. I previously had the full kit for the Camaro that they offer, but at this time they did not have that in stock, so I ended up getting a generic kit with 4 little mats there. You could get a bigger kit or a smaller kit. I ended up thinking that this would be enough for me. I only wanted to cover the front half of the floorboard because I plan on having the exhaust exit the front end or front right fender kind of area. So I don't see a point in having the mats covering all the way to the back because there won't be a full exhaust, but I could always go back and change it if I decide to go that route. This is also cheaper than getting a full kit for your car. It just requires a lot more cutting and time, patience, but it's worth it if you want to save a few bucks. It all adds up. This is the finished result. Basically covered everything that I wanted in the front section of the floorboard. I was originally going to plan on using the carpet that I had previously in the car, but with all the holes, I ended up deciding we're going to order a new one just to not have all of those holes there. You can see in this picture I'm wearing earplugs. That's because we had a quote-unquote tornado storm go through Holland not too long ago, and when that happened, it knocked out our power for a couple of days, so I'm working with the generator right next to the car. Pretty noisy. But I ended up tracing the bolts for alignment purposes so I could replace these window guides. I got a replacement from OER. The part number is K760. And this is to prevent the screeching noise every single time I roll down my windows, and I'm always got the windows down while I'm driving around town because this car has no AC and it gets really hot inside. So it's really nice to roll down the window and not have this piercing, screeching noise from the bare metal scratching the glass. You can see here in a little bit the original ones that are in the car, how bad condition those are. If you guys do plan on redoing your window guides, if they're in that kind of condition like mine are, please remember to reuse your old hardware. OER does not supply new bolts, so do not throw those away. I also recommend you don't use a little impact like I am right now. This is what not to do because you can possibly strip out the window guide threaded part. But now, no more screeching noise. I'm a happy camper. This is the generator I had to work on as well. Carburetor with a modern gas in it, sitting for years. Ended up going off the carburetor, so took that apart, cleaned it up. This is the carpet I got from Jegs. Summit. This carpet in the picture did not have a giant hole in the middle. That's why I ended up going with it, because I did not want a carpet with a hole for a shifter or a console. But when I pulled it apart, I saw a giant hole. So, pulled it out of the car, and we're gonna send that back. Took me a while to find a replacement. I'll show you guys that in a little bit. But these are my door panels I got through Speedway. Speedway has a scratch and dent little section on their website. I recommend doing that because literally these things had one little scratch. I think I'll show you guys in a little bit. Right here, I am cutting out the door handles and the window crank hole. Please be careful when you're using a knife. Do not slice it yourself because this is pretty tough material to cut through. I don't know why, but it is really good quality. It's just pain in the butt to cut through, so made sure to take my time doing so. As I mentioned, I got these door panels through Speedway Motors in their scratch and dent section. Literally for one little scratch, these things were $100 off. So I definitely recommend you guys go through their scratch and dent section for any kind of parts. I just happened to stumble upon these, and that was part of the whole snowball part of this project. where I ended up deciding we're gonna redo the whole interior inside the car just because I kept finding good deals here, there, everywhere. A motto my mother and I have, I almost recite daily with her, is do it once, do it right. That's why I ended up deciding we're gonna redo the whole interior because I do not want to do this again down the road for one little thing or replace the carpet. I want to get it all done right now. Let me know if you guys like this style of filming with the voiceovers, kind of like the old man from Old Man's Garage. This is a lot easier for me to film just because I can work and focus on my work at hand and not have to constantly stop, talk to you guys. But I could go more into depth while I do a voiceover like this. Here you can see I'm finishing up the hole for the window crank. Overall, looks pretty good. I like how nice and neat everything's turning out. Here you can see Dad is poking a couple holes for our door handle. We went away with the factory door handles about a couple of years ago. This is just another weight reduction item that I chose to do. We use a strap essentially that weighs nothing, and 2 sheet metal screws going through it is more than enough to pull the door closed. We're mounting the panel right now. We ended up not doing the bottom fasteners because the top and the door handle retainers seem to fasten the door panel well enough. These are the original ones, and I ended up getting new ones that actually had chrome left on them, and the black paint is perfect. This is also another OER item there. It's got 1 screw, takes a couple seconds to put in. This really holds the door in place, so that's why I didn't really see a need for securing the bottom. But once again, you could always go back and do that if I decide to. The original ones were not secured on the bottom. That's why I feel confident I won't be able to, or won't be needing to do so. I ended up getting new window cranks as well because the chrome on the original ones was going to crap. So these just honestly just hit it. A couple times is all you need and it snaps right into place. This is the strap that I am reusing for our door handle. I'm not a huge fan of the factory one to begin with, so this is a lot lighter as well. 2 sheet metal screws is all we use. We used a impact or screw gun to get it started, but used a regular socket wrench to tighten it just to make sure that we do not strip it. Because when you strip it, could essentially pull out later down the road, and I do not want to deal with that. This is the finished result. As you can see, the whole thing is blacked out, everything essentially, with the dash, the doors. I'm loving the black look. This originally had light blue door panels, dash, factory light blue seats, but those were gone a long time ago. But loving this a lot more. This is a long needed upgrade. This is a little tool that Dad made to get the keepers out of the spring retainers. This is literally just tire iron that we never use and scrap steel. He used some Texas Speed springs to put in his, I believe these are 243 heads, could be wrong, and pull the little keepers out with a magnet there. But this thing honestly works pretty good. Got a little stuck there, so the retainer popped out. But this saves you $100 and really costs nothing. He's pretty proud of that one, and honestly probably going to be keeping this tool forever. These are heads that he got off of Facebook Marketplace for a pretty good deal, and they had new seals originally when he got them, so I ended up just reusing those. The kit that he got from Texas Speed had seals, but we're gonna reuse the ones in it just because they're in good condition. It also helps to have the head strapped down. We used a ratchet strap to strap the head to the table we were using, just so everything's not moving around onto you, and makes this process go that much easier. Screw that bolt right out and you are good to go. Just gotta repeat the process for the rest of the springs After messing around with the LS heads, we went to our local D&W Cruising where we ran into our buddy Shane. Shane let me get a ride in his Ford Fairlane. This thing has a small block Ford in it with a single turbocharger, and this is essentially the same setup but the Ford version of what I want to do with Sydney, my Camaro. So he was kind enough to give me a ride going down the road just to get a little taste of what I would be experiencing hopefully in the future. And let me tell you guys, this thing sounds wicked. It hauls butt. I cannot wait. Thank you, Shane, so much again for this opportunity. Next time you guys see me, I will be finishing up the interior. I already had the carpet in it. The seats are mounted in it. I just need to finish editing up the next video. So hopefully that'll come out in a week and a half, maybe. It all depends on, I just started working again. So hopefully I could get some overtime to start paying for some of this. But hopefully get some more content out for you guys, finish up the interior, and start wiring the car. That's gonna be scary. But y'all will see that later. See you guys next time.